Fires YouTube channel. So today for where we're heading Wednesdays, what we've done, we've got Keown to break down a couple of pairs for you guys. He's done gold, the DXY, GBPUSD. He's also dived into some US 10-year yields as well as Bitcoin, Ethereum and XRP. So have a look at the video below and I hope you enjoy it.
What's up guys, Keown here and back with another Where We Headed Wednesdays. So just recapping what we looked at in the last Where We Headed Wednesdays, I'm going to start with gold. And in the prior video, we were looking at price passing the 1790 region to where we could then run up into 1800 and 1815, and from there we could come into the upper bound of this descending channel. So as you can see, that has played out. If I just drop down to a daily time frame, price was hovering around 1779 in the prior video. We had the daily close above this level, and then as you can see, we've had pullback. We had this level over here which was marked up from an hourly. So if I just go out, we had this prior resistance marked up as support. We made that new high, so this was roughly where the video was recorded. We had that push into the high, closure, pullback into the range low. You can see we also had this manipulative wick down into 1755 below the prior wick here, liquidating, leverage longs, and then we've had a continuation to the upside. You can also see we had left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then we actually failed to continue lower. We created a higher high, pullback, higher low, and then we've had upside. So if I just go to a 4 hour from here, you can see that we've also prior resistance, broken through, retested as support, and now we can also see we've broken into and above the descending channel. So from a daily, we have actually closed above just slightly, and then we've also maintained above. This could be a potential bullish continuation, and from a daily time frame, or even from a weekly. If we look from a weekly time frame, we could be looking at 1900 and then this top range over here of around 1950 as upside targets. What I will be looking at is what happens around this trend line. So there is a high potential we even drop back down lower and start consolidating before breaking above and continuing just to take out leverage longs. This would also coincide with the DXY. So if we look at the monthly time frame, we've had that first push off of support, and now we're currently pushing down into this level again. If I drop to a daily, what we were looking at prior was a fib from A to B. We actually failed to hold these levels, and you can see we've broken below. If I take this away, we've had prior support, flipped, and now holding as resistance, creating lower lows and lower highs. We have had slight support and buying pressure early in the day here, so that has also caused this little push lower on gold today if we go into the intraday. So there is potential for a pullback where we could have A to B, pullback into 1850, 1855, and then once we are back above this trend line and holding, we can make headway towards 1900. We need to see obviously how the DXY plays out. So there is news to look at. If I just jump over to Forex Factory. So tonight we've got FOMC meeting minutes. Tomorrow we're going to jump into the fully fed manufacturing index and unemployment claims. And then on Friday, we've got a batch of news. So we also have down here flash manufacturing PMIs and flash services PMIs. And then we also have a FOMC member speaking. So there is a bit of news to also take into account. We need to see how this level reacts. If we have a monthly close below this body, So below this valley over here, I do believe we are going to see further downside on the dollar. So this is a critical level to hold. In the last video, we were also looking at the 10-year yields. And what we can see is monthly, we've closed above 1.50. We've retested now. Going to a weekly, there hasn't been much price action. Recently, we are seeing a bit of momentum to the upside. From the last video, we were looking for potential continuations, but we were consolidating. We've now retested support and we've pushed back up. Daily time frame, we have 0.1, 0.2. We've broken above the trend line and we've retested. If we see a rising yield, we could see strength in the dollar. We just need to see how we're going to react from this trend line. So although we've closed above it on a daily time frame, the weekly time frame hasn't closed yet. So there is still potential for this to reject, and with that we could see a rising dollar as well as also a rising yield. So next we're going to jump onto the cryptocurrencies, and we had Bitcoin. So in the last video, what we had was ascending triangle. We had broken out. Price was hovering around 56,000. We actually had a daily close lower. Since then, we've seen lower low formation. So as you can see here, higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, lower high formation, and now we've started to trend lower. You can also see this significant level. We broke through and we retested twice before continuing lower. So we were looking at this in the prior video, going back and seeing the 40k handle where we'd hovered above, but we hadn't actually retested. So plotting a fib from, even do it from this low, A to B, we've come into the 61.8. We currently have broken below. I would like to see this level maintain, even if we consolidate sideways before actually having a push. Right now, if we have closures below, I do see price coming into the 78, potentially even further. I'd say there's even a higher probability that we push down into 32,500 if we close below 40,000. I would be looking at around 37,500 as a level to really maintain for that upside move. So if we just zoom out, we can see that we have had higher high, higher low, higher high, and then anywhere within this range can still be considered a higher low compared to the 21st of Jan. Another thing that was also interesting is from Plan B from Twitter that mentioned this price level where we had broken through around 37 to 39,000 was also roughly in the same period where Tesla announced their purchase of Bitcoin. So there's been a lot of FOMO and a lot of market entrance from the retail side all the way above 40,000. So now that we've had this push lower, we are starting to spook out your retail traders, and institutional traders are starting to look for those bargains to go higher. So I do believe we are still in a bull trend for Bitcoin, even if we do continue lower towards 32,000. If we break 32,500, I do believe we're going to come all the way back down to the prior all-time highs. So just something to look out for. If we jump over to Ethereum, so nice price action that's played out over here. As you can see, we had this rising wedge, breakout and continuation, similar price action over here. I was looking for, since we had closure above here, we'd had this nice support found, is to maybe bounce and then even come lower before breaking out. But we've seen that move play out a lot quicker. So as you can see, we'll just zoom in. We've had high, pullback, And now we've seen support held even though we had this wick low. We've then had a spike into the upper end of this ascending triangle, pull back once again into support, and then we've had the breakout. We're currently retesting, so this is a potential buy opportunity going from A to B. You can see we have retested the 61.8. There is still potential that we see a bounce from here and fail and then push back down towards the bottom end of this channel and then continue into the highs. So just be wary of that. Right now I am buying long term. However, I will not be trading this with leverage unless we have stronger confirmations, potentially even if we come into 2,500, decent level to start looking for those long entries. Now, from what our students have requested, I'm also going to look at XRP. So just jumping over to XRP now. What you can see is if I just jump to a weekly time frame, we've had this level from roughly September 2018. September 2018, where we failed to break above once, failed to break above twice, and then we've seen this massive rush of capital come in. We've blown through this level, come into the highs just short of, or just shy of $2, and we've had a pullback, and now we've begun to consolidate. If we look at the daily, right now we are in this little wedge, so we've had higher high, higher low, and now we've begun creating lower highs and higher lows, so consolidating but also squeezing. So I will be waiting for clear confirmation that we come out above, retest, and then we can continue higher. Otherwise, if we do break lower, it will be sharp, and then we could move towards the 90 cent to even 70 cent region before continuing higher. Even this 58 cent level is significant from a weekly perspective. However, I will be waiting for price action and further confirmation on this. We have seen a recent dip, so if you are looking long term, it is a decent time to be dollar cost averaging into these investments. However, there is still potential further downside. So if we just jump now to our requested FX pair, we're going to be looking at GBPUSD. And what we can see now is from weekly perspective, we've had this higher high, pullback, higher low. We had bearish engulfing followed by a bullish engulfing, nice little fake out, and then we held as support. From a daily perspective, we can see we had these lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high. This was a discrete lower low, almost like a double bottom, and then we've seen higher high formation followed by higher low. So we have the left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We've broken through the neckline. We've retested nice morning star formation, and now we've also broken above this 1.41380 level. So from a daily perspective, we could see potential pullback into the support and then go towards 142,500, where I would also be looking for breaks above to retest and continue higher. We obviously need to take into account what happens with the DXY. If we do have a strong DXY move to the upside, I will also be looking at a potential fib move back down before coming into 145. So for our perspective as well, you can see we had this left shoulder, head, right shoulder breakdown. We've now broken through. We could look at from higher low, swing low to the high, where we have pullback into this prior consolidation, also in line with this resistance. Or if we just take that away, there is potential for a shorter move from this higher low to higher high, where we have a pullback into 141, and then we could target 143. From there, we could retest 142,500 to then continue higher. I do believe on a longer time frame, we will see further upside on the pound. We have seen strong buying from the first quarter, and that is following through into the second quarter as well. So nice pullback doji, and now we're having this bullish engulfing up. 12 days to close, so we'll see how that closes. I would want to see closures above here, and particularly above those wicks, to then maintain that momentum towards 145, potentially even 150. So that is it from a monthly perspective. What's also happened in the past hour, we just zoom in, it's been a bit offset by the strength in the dollar. So if we just look over, we've had the CPI and the PPI readings from the UK, and we can see here from around Feb, we had a CPI reading of about 0.4. We've now had an April reading of 1.5. So that is definitely stepping up inflation rates, as well as also producer price inflation is also picking up to the upside. So this is all good for the pound. We haven't really seen that strength come through on GBPUSD due to the DXY, but if we do jump over to another pound pair, we should see that upside move. Yeah, so as you can see, just looking at GBPAUD as well, we were looking for a pullback into 1.81500. However, we began to consolidate over here. If I just pull this out, you can see we had consolidation, breakout, back within range, retested the low, back out, retested support, and now we've started to push higher on the CPI and PPI news. So prices not really suppressed on your alternative pairs. However, looking at GBPUSD, we are struggling to make headway higher due to the DXY. So just looking at an hourly, we can see how we've recently started to see this push up, which is in effect strengthening the dollar and weakening GBPUSD. So that is it for where we're headed Wednesdays, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have any questions or requests for the next series, drop a comment below and don't forget to subscribe.